right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Joker Tower Season 2. So, I know we've talked about it a couple of times. And when I say we, I mean just me and then the viewers at home. But, yeah, it's time. The Joker Tower Season 1, it ran its course. It ran for a very long time. I don't even know how many episodes it has. My Dark Souls 3 playlist already has like almost 80, I think, and I'm not even quite done. So, whoops. But anyways, and then here's some work that I've been working on. So as you can see, actually, let's go back to the just use the right stick, then I don't fall off to my death. But I wouldn't actually fall to my death yet. But if I like really ran. But as you can see, this tower is much taller. It used to be just as on par as that. So let's go ahead and go down. I ran out of emerald blocks, but I still have the amethyst. So that's still on every main floor, not these little tertiary floors, which, as I say that, maybe I should have like the middle row like this, and this go back into. Oh. Well, I'll think about it because then that would mean I'd need to do it for all of the landings to make them all uniform. Anyways, so I added from this up. This was already in existence, this edge here, because this is where the lava was. So that was as tall as it was, and I think I already had, I want to say a lot of this base. I don't know. But either way, I might have to look back at one of the season 1 episodes. And this is the Joker Tower. This is the Joker Tower that, like, the whole show is named after, this whole series. Like, I mean, although it's funny because I started making that, and then once I realized, so it started as just like a small nether portal, or well, it was between that and that. Like I still had made it larger than normal, like a pretty large, but I didn't know how large you could go. And then I found that those, at least at the time, were the largest nether portals that you can make on every one. And I even messed up one. I made it like 1 unit too short, and that, as I'm saying that, this one almost looks like it's 1 unit too small. But I could be wrong. Not that it even matters all that much. Like, the point of this was just to build a gigantic other tower that already has a bunch of coloration. So when you're coming into this port, this very wacky and zany port here, and you've got a mob grinder is like the other, like it used to be the largest structure in this world. And then I built like this artificial mountainside with a ski lift. Oh, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, so now season 2, we have possibly one of my favorite projects by far. We're going to thread the needle here. Whee! Ah, that's so nerve-wracking. But good morning. All right. So, ooh, and this will actually look even cooler at night because it's this current project, as you can start to see it there, it's like a pathway. Vamonos. We have quite a bit of material still, so we'll work on that while discussing the to-dos for this season. So side projects have been going pretty well. There's the shack that my son was going to blow up, never really did. There's the shack of shame, and I'm going to expand on that in a more deliberate and legal way. This whole time, this is all adhering to laws and such, and and I'm being careful. But and actually, there's only one thing that I did that may be quasi-legal, might be illegal, I don't know. Like doxing somebody by giving the name, the crime that they supposedly committed, saying that I don't know if he really did, but I think he did. So it's a suspicion of guilt in a public forum with pictures and a name, but no real location. I tried to give a location in the beginning, but it was wrong. And even then, I quickly backtracked. I was like, actually, you know what? No, I shouldn't. I think that's the wrong part. And I'm just like figuring this out as I go online on XApp. And it was only one time. And so, like, if I get in trouble, like, I'd have to. I think the first one's a cease and desist. And then, but the thing is like, if they acknowledge it, then they have to be like, well, this isn't true, this is defamation. Or they have to be like, wait, this is actually kind of true, and end up getting a criminal case out of it. So really the risk to benefit ratio is very low and high to me. Now, a little backstory. This guy was the victim in my 2009 assault case. I assaulted this person, which is hilarious because it was self-defense. It's in the police report that it was self-defense. He punched me first, but I escalated it. Boy, howdy. So, and we'll go ahead and we'll be talking about this. This is the very beginning of season one. Let's, woo. Usually I hide this stuff in like the middle of the episode, so only the real ones know what's up. Hmm. Actually, before I get too far, this is a random character that my son likes. Like, he just likes the DJ skeleton. So, um, 'cause yeah, it has like DJ headphones. You can't really see it because it's either forward or backwards, forward or backwards. But you can kind of see they're like white centers with black discs as like, he looks like a DJ. Or at least that's what, it's like Princess Leia kind of. So, got the buns on the ears or a DJ, so it could have been either. Anyways, ooh, and actually, let's start adding in the. I don't have as many of these, so we'll see how far they go. But ultimately, this is a guide road for if somebody gets lost in this realm and they go to Origin 00, they will have a direct highway to the Joker Tower, which I still haven't even figured out. I'll have to ask the kiddos and we'll vote on a name for the place. But I try to do all the decision making as a family unit, so like the big decision making. Now, as far as just building things, though, as I say that, no, I just build whatever I want here, and so do they. So, and I spend by far more time here than they do, but that's okay. Their interests have diverted into other games and stuff for now, and that's fine. Like, I want them to be able to enjoy what they enjoy. In fact, I've been doing it with them, too. Like, I play a lot of Fortnite with my son, and then my daughter's making all sorts of really cool things. Like, she's getting into, like, animation and stuff, and she has a few, like, YouTubers that she likes to follow, and they're learning a little bit about social skills, but it makes me nervous. But they have fake names. They have like they aren't allowed to post real information. Jesus, I did it twice. You can tell I'm like my brain is like concentrating on other things, so it's harder to keep this pattern up. And it is alternating, so everything looks like a giant chessboard. Let's see, do, 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 do. Or patterns on like medieval stuff, or like there's a whole bunch of things. But and you'll notice I crouch too, because with as absent-minded as I build, I could fall right off. And even though the risk is very low for this construction, it's very close to the water. Water, you have unlimited fall damage retrieval from, or safety from. Like, it's not gonna. There's no fall damage if you land in water. Now, if you're digging as you fall, you can actually trick it into giving you fall damage. All right, now let's see. So this one, can I do this? And then morph it? Yep, nice. Look at that. I thought I was going to have to use the dirt block as a placer and all that, but nope. I will have to for the other side. Yeah, this game is so smart. Like they've thought of so many things, and I love seeing like all the updates. And Waddles is great. Like, so if you want like actual Minecraft information, Waddles on YouTube is like my favorite YouTuber for Minecraft stuff. And there's a ton. Even Anthony Wright Codes plays Minecraft, although I like watching his stuff for the coding and Python stuff. But anyways, have a nice network of online people that I entertainment and content creators. And I'm still working on my own content creation. Like, this is the best that I have so far. And actually, I mean, the gaming method of teaching is kind of my favorite. Like, but I don't know how effective it is. And I need to get back into the reason I've been stalling on doing the actual, like, hey, here, let's get down and do some code examples. You know, making YouTube playlists of those things. Like, that's kind of the trick, because my audio is trash on it. And I just don't have the patience or the focus to really figure that out. Like, it's defeating. It's not like a fun thing to do. I'll get there, but I think it's easier to just buy my way out of the problem. Like, and by that I mean get a new computer, build a new computer. I'm kind of waiting on this should be getting a promotion any day now. My 3 years coming up, and I think that might be the mark they're waiting for. I highly doubt that they'd wait longer than that, and it's kind of upsetting that they've waited this long. Just because I'm in charge of all the onboardings at my work. Like everybody has to do their IT onboarding with me. I teach everybody what's up at this company, this nonprofit that I work for. Um, so yeah, and part of that is I get introduced to every single one as a junior, and I get it. COVID really wreaked havoc on this business, and I am patient, and I understand that. It's just I keep seeing other people with their 2 year but again, I'm IT, so it's like I understand my price tag is a little higher than the average person at a company, but oh, and I do got to be careful because already, oh wow, like two off. That's amazing. I already saw one guy looks like from India add me on the coding game, and I'm the only one that he added. So I know it's from these videos. It's from something. The videos are the coding game playground, and like already he's starting out like hacker. I will own you all, or something. And I've noticed that about like definitely a lot of national pride coming from India, and that's great. Like, I'm all for it. I support it. Everybody should be proud in their country, but even more so, we should be proud as a people, as a global family. And that's what like I kind of want to get more stairs while we're still this close to. Although, do I have? Now let's go ahead and run out the. We'll run out the land tiles. It's already almost daytime too. It'll start being dawn, but. In fact, let's just go ahead and forget about this. There we go. Let's see how confusing this gets. So, but anyways, what was I even talking about? Oh yeah, well, so teaching. I mean, because I still have a day job. I do IT all day, and I fix problems, and I'm in charge of support and troubleshooting and onboarding and hardware and this and that and blah 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 blah. Tons of stuff. So, which I love it. I mean, like I used to think that I wanted to be a software developer and write the next Facebook and make the next cool tool that people use and I didn't realize I had a knack for helping people troubleshoot the tools that are already out there and make it a little less painful. Not always, but most of the time. And even if not, like it's still less painful just because then there's somebody with you going through it, so you're not alone, and that speaks volumes as far as support goes. So. But yeah, and then at the same time, working on projects at work, official projects like security projects of monitoring. I'll be working with the FBI soon. That's exciting because there have been a couple of scammers trying some pretty high value scams, and that's something I don't care for. I mean, like cybercrime, if you're a hacktivist, I can understand why you're breaking laws and stuff. I still don't support even that. Like I like Anonymous. I like to think that there is a Batman out there that will, right the wrongs. But at the same time, I'd also like to think that we can fix the wrongs the right way before they happen. And I'm working on that project too. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to use Jesus. And not in an abusive way or taking the Lord's name in vain. And actually, I saw this interesting video yesterday where this guy was proving that the Bible never says that Jesus was actually God. Like, that's people drawing that. Like, Jesus never said that he was God. And that to me makes the most sense. Like from what I did learn growing up in the church, like I grew up in the Methodist church where they were already a little skeptical about some of the more voodoo-y type sounding things. Like maybe we misheard that or misunderstood that, or like which is very possible. Like the telephone game's a good example. The fact that it's been translated from a lot of languages, like you would have to be an expert in that native language of like the subtle nuances of like the slang, the phrases, or like why do they say things like this? Is it being literal or is it being speculative or figurative? Like because there's some really weird stuff like talking about like donkey erections and stuff, and like selling daughters to slavery, which that I've seen a video on was more like another perspective to that is like if somebody knocks up somebody, then they have to marry them and make what people used to say an honest woman out of them, but really just be there to support the choice that they made to create a child. And that makes sense to me. Like selling your daughter to slavery, like she shall be sold. No, it's like you come up with the wedding money. You come up with the what is that? The is it a dowry? Usually it's the man that or I don't know. And then even as I say that, I think like Indian culture, like and not Native American. See, that's the problem. I have like I've debated with people online, which it's not even my debate to have, but like I said like it just seems like Native American seems more respectful, and I've had people say, "No, I am or I am Indian, and we identify as Indian because that's what the treaties were made out to." I was like, "Okay, but they were being racist and lazy, and now you're gonna try to be like, I mean, I get it, like if that's like how it's supposed to be, but like." I don't like being called the plaintiff or defendant or like, like that's kind of like an unpleasant time to be thinking about labels. So, and pronouns. See how easy it is to use pronouns? I've been the defendant a couple times. Or not even that. Like, it's, what is it? Like, in court cases, they call it something different. Like, it's not even like as law and order as that, like you'd see on mainstream TV. It's even more stupid. It's like the, I don't even know. I don't care to know. I hope I never go through another one of those again. So I'm being very careful to not break laws. However, at the same time, this D-bag can't get away with it. And what I'm talking about, and so this is excommunication station. Sorry, let's actually go back to that. We have the shack of shame over there where I talk about the sex offender that I assaulted, and he is a convicted sex offender. And I haven't even checked to see if he's in the registry, but I have a sneaking suspicion he's not because of the nature of his crimes and what he did. And we're going to talk about that. In fact, let's talk about the switcheroo right now because, I mean, and I do have a few side projects and potential funding from like major tech companies, and that would be all great. And like, I know that this is risking that. And so that's why I'm being extra careful is because like this bit of a checkered past, as we're building a checkered highway, is a bit unfavorable to some people to work with. Like it could be very bad for a brand image, but at the end of the day, all of my crimes, if you laid them all out, are really not all that bad. I'm not going to go through them, but because it's still like again trying to be protective of myself and the people I work with and work for, and if somebody were to dox me and be like, "Look at this guy," I want it to be understandable. I mean, and actually, when you say it, a good way to phrase it is I was self-medicating and then later prescribed medications that ended up being more or as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than the street medications. So I'm still on the fence on whether or not anything I did was really all that bad, even in that sense. But beating up, and I didn't even beat up this guy. He punched me in the head. And then because I was sitting there, or I was standing outside our apartment, he was my roommate of all people, so we couldn't avoid this conflict. We had to resolve this conflict, and we did. We both got kicked out of CSU. Um, but yeah, I was drinking on a 40, had quite the cocktail going myself. I wasn't impaired though, like in the sense that I still maintained safety throughout a very vicious fight, and it was all drama and theater and no actual direct violent threat to the guy. Um, yeah, this keeps getting interesting, more interesting. But basically, so he punches me. Well, no, even let's back up even further than that. He was upstairs with one of our mutual friends, talking about how I was having unsavory folks over. I had some gangbangers and some party people, like, just hanging out. And I didn't think of them as any of that. They would be labeled stuff like that because people need to find a villain out of things, which is ridiculous. But they were just friends, acquaintances, colleagues. Like we were just hanging out, having a party, and like we were about to go on a journey. And this guy, he had to ruin it, and he was drinking, and he was a raging alcoholic, drunk all the time. I was pretty bad myself, but I wasn't so much into the booze. I preferred other things, but booze was legal and easy to get, so it was like, okay, I mean, I guess that's what we have to do. But if I had my choice, I would have just been blazing bud the whole time. Probably never drank really all that much. I mean, except for when I'd want to let loose and maybe find a lady and like do that. But even then, as I say that, like, that means I found a lady when I was not able to give consent and she was not able to give consent. So now there's this whole thing where I'm like starting to reevaluate my own past interactions. Like, and do I need to reach out and apologize to some folks? I did actually one. There is one questionable for sure. But even that one, so let's go ahead and clear the air about myself. We were writing erotic novels the entire time together, involving us as the main characters, like before and after the incident. I wouldn't even call it an incident. We both went out drinking and then we ended up doing things that we both agreed that we didn't want to do. But talk is cheap, and once you start drinking, then things start happening. So, like, and that's something I got to settle up with because I took a shortcut against another person. And anyways, but back to the sex offender because this guy made those decisions for the women that he was assaulting. Like there was no we about it. He was drugging and then assaulting women. What was worse is that he would do the switcheroo, and I don't have any proof that he actually did it. And so that's why, and I even said this in that rant on Redman's thing. But I was like, um, he told me about it. He said, "Hey, we do this thing, or we're going to do this thing," or I forget if it was we are, or we have, or we've been doing. All I could remember was I was just getting the broad overview. Like whenever anybody tells me anything, like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing. It's called the switcheroo," and I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "So what happens is we put this in one girl's drink." Then he puts this in another girl's drink, and then we switcheroo, and then we're able to get with them. And he was talking in terms like this. He was like, "Oh, I'm going to rape them and all this," because of course they're not thinking that what they're doing is wrong. At the time, they're like, "Hey," and this guy especially, he was really excited because he knew I was trying to sleep with a lot of women, but I was also raised by my mom, and like I've always seen them as equals. Like they are on equal footing as me. We were all created as equals in the eyes of God. I was raised in the church to believe that too, and the Methodist Church having a woman pastor who I thought was a lesbian, and we'll get into that a little later. And for those that have been watching the previous seasons, they already know. But okay, actually, basically, long story, not so long. I thought she was a lesbian because she cut her hair. She kept her hair cut short, and she used to wear a lot of rainbow scarves. And I didn't care because I had a lesbian music teacher. So from an early age, like in elementary school, like in my first through fifth grade, I learned music from a lesbian, a very happy, very pleasant lady that we all liked, and like I didn't have any problems with her. She was super nice, super understanding, like very kind, like she was great, and she was happy. And I met her wife a couple of times at elementary, and this is a small mountain town, mind you. Like, supposedly we're supposed to be the rednecks that hate gay people and all this, and nah, we just there weren't a lot of gay people around, and the ones that we did know, we didn't really care. Like I think the general idea was like, as long as that guy doesn't hit on me, I'm okay with him being gay. When in reality, they're like, well, they're probably thinking, oh no, I don't even want to bother with a guy that's going to be a no go. Let alone like if you think about it, if I found out a woman was a lesbian, I would not try to hit on her, or try to pursue anything of that nature. I might still say hi, and just be a friend. Like that's cool, but I would no longer be trying to figure out a way to have an end game with her, like Anyways, sorry. And hence why I say shortcut. So what this guy did was he was taking a shortcut in the dating scene and making decisions that these women did not make. He's making these decisions for them. They made the decision to drink an alcoholic drink, but they did not make the decision to drink a date rape drug and get diddied. Like and see, and that's the thing right now. So with the Diddy trials going on, this is kind of like the prime time to capitalize off of this situation and to raise awareness for women advocacy about don't rape people. And I hate that you have to say that. Like, I feel like that should be common nature. Like, that's just like a, hey, don't do that. If you're going to do it, same with stealing, too. Oh my gosh. And stealing, and that's part of why. So this guy was doing it all. He was stealing from me. He was stealing innocence and making decisions for women at these frat parties. And I don't know how many, but I do know because he told me, because I talked to him afterwards, he told me that two women caught him on a phone to him admitting to on a recorded line that he knew that they were drugged. Okay, right there. Just if you have nothing else to gain from this except for those words, we know that he raped some people. So, okay, that's just the first one. So now it's like, okay, well, how many people did he rape? Did he really pay for his crimes? Like, these are the things that, and now having gone through the correction system myself, I happen to have it on good faith that literally anyone else who's ever been to jail would be like, yeah, I kind of want to look into this. And that's a lot of people. A lot of the people I look up to, too, like musicians, hip hop artists, Cypress Hill, Redman, Method Man, the Wu-Tang Clan. You think they're going to be like, hey, rape is cool? No. They're going to be like, put him on Front Street. Who is this knack? Like, Do it legal way though. Like everybody's being very cautious because nobody wants to go to jail or prison. And I don't want to violate the laws. I really never did. The only time I ever violated laws was when I was trying to self-medicate. And now, if I was doing that nowadays, it would just be a minor doing it because weed and natural psychedelics are legal now. That's all I ever messed with growing up. I mean, I started dabbling in other things, but like even that, if you really get down to the nitty gritty, as long as it doesn't have opiates or meth, then it's not like super dangerous for you. Now, it's super dangerous to get caught, yeah. But worst you can expect if you have good, trustworthy folks with you is a wild vacation, and then you sober up, you stop doing whatever you're doing, and you get back to work, like as if nothing happened. And that's using substances responsibly. And that's how a lot of people live. Or they start to fall off and they realize it and they might get some help or take a break or go to a rehab or something. And that's fine. We should still have that. Like, that's great. Now, jail and prison for those, that's such a lazy shortcut. Like, and it's not meant to actually fix the problem. It's meant to kick the can or make it look like it's fixing the problem to the people that have no clue. The people like, oh, I bet they're a weed snorter, like they're using illegal narcotics and blah blah blah. And oh wait, now they're legal. Oh, not only that, we found out they used to be used in ancient Christian churches. What? Yeah, there's a British broadcasting corporate. I hate saying BBC because, and that's a whole nother story. How I got stabbed in the back by an R&B singer. I'm gonna make that right too, but I got to figure out a good way to do it without any actual danger to him or myself, both political and physical. Like we can't be doing that, the beefs and everything. But I do have beef with this guy, and we're gonna make it right for whatever it's worth too, because that was a whole thing about an ex, basically wife. I love this woman very much, still do. I mean, I'm just obsessed, and I can't ever truly get away from that. But to be healthy, I've like quote unquote moved on, but I mean, if she reached out to me, I'd be like, "Hey, no, let's go talk, let's go meet, like let's see what we could do." And she has a couple dogs too, because I talked to her recently, and I'm not a fan of dogs. I love dogs when I don't have to take care of them, but I just hate the idea of having to take care of something else, one more thing, because it's hard enough to take care of myself. I got kids now, like, and I think that might be the thing. It's like, let's do the dog to work up to kids. Well, I already skipped dog and went right to having kids, so. And I'm a good dad. I'm a good dad. A lot of people say so. And I'm continually working. I know I could always be better, and there are some things specifically that I want to start working on, which actually I'm going to be doing today. This is my week off, so I'm going to be making a lot of videos today. Then I got my kids the next couple of days, so I'll be playing a lot of video games, but not really reporting back to A-Rye's channel, talking about myself in the third person. Um, but no, so the excommunication station is the political arm of this. And what I mean by that is, a lot of these MAGA Republicans, MAGA and Republicans, but like which MAGA are Republican for those that are joining this from outside the US and might not already know, our party system is basically Democrat and Republican. So it's either blue or red. That's as simple as it goes. I've always been blue because blue generally tries to say things like, let's help poor people or let's make it to where low and middle class family. I mean, they both try to say that, but the track record is all the safety nets and social programs that help people that are poor or even just like temporarily struggling, because that's really all everything is. It's all temporary. Like, you're not pigeonholed in a box because you're poor. Like, you're not stuck down. And a lot of times it's alcohol that keeps you down. And now that weed's legal, like, a lot of people are realizing, hey, I just don't like alcohol. It sucks. It makes everything harder. This weed feels good. We can still party with this. All right, let's party with the weed. And like, and then the more they use that, they realize I don't even like partying. Like, I mean, let's do like social things, more consensual social things or comfortable socializing like online gaming, and then, or go meet up and do something. But even then, you can go smoke some bud and then go, as long as you're still responsible and you have like, I was about to say like river rafting and stuff like that, but you got to be careful. So maybe like skiing and snowboarding or going to a water park, like you're still like supervised by people. Anywhere where you would drink alcohol actually is a good way, because if you wouldn't drink alcohol doing it, then you probably shouldn't smoke bud and do it. Like, that's just a general rule. Um, but there's the thing, like people will drink a beer or two and then drive. So people could take like a hit or two and drive and be okay. But I would not recommend, and that's still so wishy-washy. And I get it, for law enforcement, it's like, how do we even enforce this? So actually now we should probably go get more, but we're about halfway of the distance to origin. We got to go down to 4. So we're at 446. So we still have 447 really rows to go. And multiply that by 4, that's how many tiles. Divide that in half, that's how many diorite tiles versus granite, which is really weird. This is more like feldspar. And I think it has a second name. No, felsic granite is a very pinkish granite because feldspar, I'd have to look it up, but that is the class I got the highest grade in, is geology. It was a basic geology class in Front Range Community College, but I had the highest score. I participated as much as I could. I read every chapter. I really knocked it out of the park. There we go. Oh, look at this. I started making a beehive colony thing, like just mass producing honey. I gotta get a bunch of firewood to work on that. Oh wait, that was the alarm. So we're at about, so anyways, excommunication station. Just, I'm probably gonna be making a lot more of these today, but so we just kind of wrap this up. Excommunication station is how we apply religion and politics, religious laws and political laws from all religions, and just see if someone would be guilty. In fact, we'll make it right here. We'll make this big old thing. So I had this stick out because I was originally going to the border of the map, which you'll see I'm not quite there yet. Even if we go, the dot will change to a circle when we hit the map border. Also, my city texture pack isn't working. I'm gonna have to troubleshoot that. Oh, there we go. So this, there is it. Okay. 72. At negative 73, it looks like. So there's 72 units past 0. So think of that how you will. But we are now at negative 73. If we go to negative 72, boom, we're an arrow. Negative 73, dot. So this is no longer on this map. This is. So it contains everything to negative 72. So, and that's how far away I was still from the edge of the map. Also, now I gotta go. We'll just go stand there so I can AFK. But anyways, so we'll make excommunication station to where, one, not only are you like found out to have violated real laws, like in this case, if this guy really was like drugging other women, then he didn't get punished for drugging the women. They're still at large, the people that put the date rape drugs in the women's drinks. Oh, hey, guess what? I know one of them. So there we go. And we could catch him for those crimes of actually drugging the women, not just taking advantage of the women that were drugged. And that is the point of the switcheroo. I already have, let's see, Be Real from Cypress Hill liked a comment that I did when I just said, I stand by my decision to assault an SO for my '09 assault case. And so he's going to now know that word. That A-Rye guy beat up a sex offender in 2009. Which I really just defended myself because the sex offender punched me in the head. He wasn't a convicted sex offender at that time, but he did confide in me that he was planning on doing this switcheroo thing. And then I had it later confirmed when I talked to him later, because I did. I reached out to him after I'd been drinking, just to kind of see, keep tabs. What happened with that? And he told me, he's like, yeah, I got busted. 2 women caught me on a phone call, and I got 5 years probation. I was like, oh, wow, that's intense. Like, trying to still be neutral, even though I was like seething, so pissed. Like, I was so mad. Like, 5 years probation for that? Like, and at the time I was even more mad because I got like a bunch of time for like, in real time, not real. I never went to prison, but like I did real jail like for years. And this guy, he had to do classes and go through the hardships of probation, but he was still out in the community free to attack other women. That's the thing that pisses me off the most. Like, how many other women got assaulted because he wasn't put away and made to pay for his crimes? That's a crime. You cannot rape people. Like, that should be square one. All right. Anyways, let's wrap this up, and I'll pick that up in the next one. I was already like in autopilot mode, gathering more materials. I do have a lot more diorite and granite, but I'm probably going to need to mine some. But let's talk about this because this is now the Joker Tower Season 2. And we're going to lay it all out. We're going to build the excommunication station. And by excommunication, I don't mean like really throw them out. Like if you're a Christian, if you're Islam, like that's throwing them out. I think everybody still believes in a heaven. the main monotheistic, or even reincarnation. You'll get reincarnated as like a tiger versus reincarnated as an ant. And then even then, like with wildlife, the way that we treat it now, being reincarnated as a person is probably the next step. And then in a family that has, so that's the other thing. So maybe in a past life you were a good person if you were born into a wealthy family, if you believe in the whole reincarnation thing. So, and anyways, this will be building off of the Two Taboos playlist where I really do a somewhat deep dive of a observational dive, not really research based, but I look into it. Also, I forget how I did this. And then you have to have the redstone come out there, and then that would push it. So, anyways, ta-ta for now. I'll see you in the next one. Welcome to season 2. We're finally doing it. All right, see you there.